All right, how do I want to describe this game? I feel like this game went like 80% of how I expected it to go, and then 20% I was kind of like, oh wow, good job, Boston Celtics. But yeah, Boston Celtics 107, Dallas Mavericks 89. Celtics take game one on the home court. And by the way, welcome back to these videos and everything, y'all. Thanks for joining me on these. For those of you that have been tuning in for each and every one, even though they don't get a ton of views or anything, and it's not anything all that crazy, I just like to recap the games. I just got back from a little bit of business and everything. For those of you that have been watching, I've been working with like an NBA team and stuff like that. So really, really cool stuff. But anyway, let's talk NBA Finals. So the Dallas Mavericks kind of just got their booty cheeks rotated in this one. That's the best way I can put it. And I think that's the scientific term for it as well. But it was all just Celtics defense at the end of the day, man. Celtics defense, Celtics defense, Celtics defense. Let's give a clap out for Jaylen Brown, who just played phenomenal defense like the whole game. We were worried about Porzingis like not being in, and then he had a little bit of a minutes restriction. He made his minutes count though, didn't he? Where we were like, okay, like without any rim defense, are the Dallas Mavericks just going to be like getting into their like pick and roll and everything, and then they get into the short roll situations when they start to blitz, and then all of a sudden they get all these lob threats and everything? It's like, nope, Jaylen Brown locked down the paint. Obviously Porzingis, when he was in, was completely dominant. We all kind of knew Porzingis was going to be the X factor in this series because he pulls the bigs out and he's such a good shooter and he can block and he can box out those guys. I saw so many times when Porzingis was in, him just getting a body on Lively or a Gafford and him being nice and long, and he wasn't even going for the rebounds because Tatum and Brown and Drew and Derek all go for all those rebounds as well. And he's like, hey, I'll just hold them off. You guys go get them, right? And it was clear that the Celtics were just really well prepared for this game. All this time they had off, you can tell that they had a game plan and they were sticking to it. They didn't even really need to blitz a ton, like, because Drew Holiday and Derek White were just out there navigating it. And every once in a while, they didn't even blitz. They just switched. And then whoever switched off, like sometimes I saw Al Horford get stuck on like a Luka or something. And you're like, uh-oh, here it goes. But then Drew Holiday's like still just like lurking a little bit because he's so good at closing out if he needs to and making space. And as soon as Luka kind of gets into the operating area past the three-point line, they just kind of double him there. And then it's like, well, you can only throw it like one of two directions at this point. So just make your choice from there. And now you're either taking a bad shot or what. And let's make sure we give Luka his praise, right? He played a phenomenal basketball game overall, and as much as he could do at the end of the day. But man, this is what's crazy. Like I said, they put him in these situations where they can't pass and they can't do anything because of just like the swarming double teams and stuff like that. Like they just couldn't get any swinging offense going. And I think the solution to that is Dallas is just going to have to move the ball a little bit quicker, and this is when that ISO balls might start to kill them a little bit. Obviously, Kyrie had a pretty abysmal night. Like, have you guys noticed, like, throughout the playoffs, there's just been times where, like, his grips, I call them grips, that's what I called them when I was playing and everything, like, your handles, right? Your handles, and like I said, I called them my grips. I'd always be like, I come grip ready, or whatever, grips ready. But anyway, like, he's just, I never see Kyrie Irving, like, ever mess up his handles, and I've seen him do it, like, a couple times this playoffs or whatever, and so just something I'm noticing, maybe a slight regression at this point in his career, just a slight one that I'm noticing. Maybe I'm being too hyper specific, but you know, but yeah, no, the bigs couldn't get involved in this game at all, as you saw. Like there was no chance to get them to pass. There was no chance whatsoever. Derek Lively was in foul trouble the whole night. Those two of those fouls from Jaylen Brown, where he literally just like jumped into him, like, and they gave him both of those things. Like that shit pisses me off, man. It's just like a player and stuff, and as like a coach and just a fan of basketball, it's like, oh come on, refs, like watch the game a little bit. But overall, I thought it was a fine night or whatever. But man, that Celtics defense was crazy. I wish I had a more like in-depth thing to say outside of just like that switch and that slight double team, because it's kind of just what it was, and they just didn't have an answer. Now Dallas will figure it out, right? Like Luka and Kyrie are going to figure this shit out. I'm going to guess that they're going to bounce back pretty big in the next game, so you're going to have to be ready for a sucker punch. It's just going to come. As far as like the rest of the rotation and everything, like I thought Josh Green was playing good defense. I thought Maxi Kleber was doing fine out there. I do think Tim Hardaway Jr. should probably get some minutes, and it's like, I know he hasn't earned it in the playoffs, but I just find it so hard to believe that a guy that scores like 18, 19 points over like his whole career all of a sudden is unplayable. Like I don't know. It just seems crazy to me, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. But yeah, no, they really gave it to him, man. They really gave it to him. Shout out Sam Hauser being great out there. Peyton Pritchard obviously couldn't hit a shot last night, but he was still a positive on the court overall. Had great energy. And please, if you take anything away from this video, take away that Drew Holiday was absolutely phenomenal in this game. There are just so many little plays. And by the way, I love the broadcasting crew that we have for the finals with like JJ Redick and Doris Burke and all of them. Like, because they actually point out like the little things that are really interesting in the basketball game, and then I feel like I don't have as much to talk to you guys about, but it's so rewarding to see them call it out too. Like that one respace that Drew Holiday did when Al like pump faked a three and he went to the hoop, and Drew Holiday started out in the dunker spot of one side and he cleared out and created the passing lane to go get a three in the corner. It's just, oh man, or like a ball hits the front of the rim and he just does this nice little like swim move to step in front and get an offensive rebound, keep possessions alive. It's so great. It makes me so happy to watch. But no, I don't know what else to say about this, man. Jaylen Brown just had a great basketball game. I guess we can touch on Jason Tatum just a little bit because he really didn't have like a great night scoring or anything, but I want to keep reiterating, I think Jason Tatum is the new Paul George, and that's not a good thing. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's just my comparison for him. And what do I mean by that? I think Jason Tatum can do whatever you ask of him. If you need him to go be a scorer, he can be a scorer. He's not like maybe like a Kyrie Irving or a Luka level scorer, right? But he can go be an all-star level scorer. He can go be an all-star level rebounder, 11. He can distribute and stuff when he gets doubled and stuff like that. Like 5 assists here. The turnovers were high in this one, but that's how I want to start looking at Jason Tatum a little bit. I see him as like, and maybe he would take this as an insult, but I see him as like a all-star role player, if you will. Like, he's just willing to do whatever it takes and adapt his game. And I think that's a really valuable thing because I don't think many like all-star level dudes can do that, or even all NBA dudes. And I think that him and Paul George are kind of in that unique category where they can. Think like Chris Bosh and stuff when he was playing. He was very good at that too. Just whatever the team needed him to do, that's what he would excel in that night. And so that's what I'm seeing, man. I'll be curious to see if Porzingis gets more minutes in the next game. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to the chess match, man. Like, I would just, if I'm Dallas, I'm just wiping this one clean off the slate. I'm sure they're going to hit the film. Now they know what they're running and everything. I'm guessing they were expecting a little more blitz and everything, and honestly, I would have too. But now it's just figure out how you want to counter this or whatever. I think the answer is just you're going to have quicker ball movement, and you have to get them rotating and stuff and try to get like Porzingis out of position and stuff. But man, it'll be interesting. But they got to figure it out faster. The Celtics could run away with it. But anyway, thanks so much for watching as always, y'all. We'll talk to you guys for the next game, or we'll talk to you guys after the next game. I'm tired. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys later.